This is Warhammer like you've never seen it before. Welcome to Dawn of War Warhammer. Since 2004, this little space marine has always dreamt one hobby dream: to bring Dawn of War to the tabletop. I want a game of Warhammer exactly like the greatest Warhammer video game of all time. I'm talking base building, mustering an army,
Marine squad deployed,
upgrades,
Light of the Emperor,
map control, exploration,
captured,
and above all, a fully functional Dawn of War economy built right on top of Warhammer 40k. Today we've got our second installment of Dawn of War Warhammer. We'll be finishing off an absolute monster of a game on our brand new 72 square foot Dawn of War gaming table, in which the mighty Blood Ravens must exterminate an orc infestation. We'll be playing a scenario inspired by the missions from the first Dawn of War, which is designed to showcase our new Dawn of War rule set. This rule set is an overlay, which means you can use it with whatever wargaming system you like, but with Warhammer 40k 10th edition hot off the press, it's time for some 40k action. We'll take you through the rules as our battle gets underway, but first, let's set the scene. On the planet Tartarus, war is raging as a savage orc war devours the planet. In the first episode, we saw the Blood Ravens establish their forward command post on the outskirts of an Imperial manufactorum on the plains of Dera and wipe out the first of two orc strongholds. But the orcs counterattacked fiercely, and hidden in the fog of war, an even bigger greenskin army is gathering to defend their final stronghold.
kill.
Commanding the paragons of the Imperium is me, Lockie of ZorpHammer. It's time to wipe out this orc infestation. And going green today is my right-hand man, Bo from ZorpZorp.
Let's crush some Space Marines.
In case you missed the first battle report, which you'll find linked down in the comments and description, our Blood Raven army is well on its way to victory. We built up our home base with a variety of buildings for researching upgrades, deploying troops and vehicles, and our economy is in strong shape with 3 power generators built and 3 strategic points captured. Generators and SPs are the backbone of the Dawn of War Warhammer economy, earning us power and requisition, which we have spent to build a nice little army. Our forces are currently split across the map, with Tactical Squad Alpha having just vanquished an orc camp up on the plateau, and our first Predator and an assault squad and a squad of Terminators are standing among the flaming ruins of the first orc stronghold. With 11 turns already completed, we return to the battlefield just after the destruction of the first orc stronghold. Turn 12 saw the Blood Ravens net a whopping 920 requisition, combining their 3 captured strategic points
Captured.
with a 500 requisition objective bonus from defeating the first orc stronghold, and I started burning my resources fast. Up first, I jumped over to the stronghold, the Space Marine HQ building. Now remember, this building must be defended at all costs. If it is destroyed, the Blood Ravens are defeated, but it also lets us upgrade our squad cap, in this case from 10 to 15, allowing me to deploy Marine Squad Charlie from the Chapel Barracks, our first new unit for this battle report. Welcome to the field, boys. Charlie immediately embarked onto the awaiting Rhino, which sped off past Strategic Point 1 to support Alpha Squad up on the plateau.
Commencing attack.
Having successfully obliterated the orc defenses at SP3, Alpha Squad sent the all-clear signal to build our second Chapel Barracks. In Dawn of War Warhammer, a player may build 1 structure per uncontested control zone each turn. This forward operating base up on the plateau is going to be essential for doubling our rate of infantry squad production and striking hard at the orc menace.
Moving out.
To fortify the new position, Alpha performed an advance move and took position overlooking the 2 ramps leading up from the lower level, but as they are at full strength, they didn't need any upgrades.
Cease and repent.
Back at the first orc base down in the plains, however, my newly deep-struck Terminators equipped a devastating assault cannon and reinforced with a new squad member, and boldly leapt down into the dust to face down the remaining horde of orcs.
We seek the enemy. None shall stand in our path. Death from above. Charge!
And now a moment that every Marine player has wanted to see on the table. The Assault Marines use their jump ability to blast high over the Terminators and the Orcs swarming below the smoldering wreck of the first Orc Stronghold and landed directly upon Strategic Point 4.
Take and hold.
Predator deployed. Hammer them till they fall!
So the Blood Ravens are advancing across all fronts, but before we get to our next Orc Stronghold, we have to deal with this little Orc response force. But luckily, I've just deep struck some Terminators, and they are supported by a Predator. So I'm going to start opening fire in the shooting phase. I've got 2 heavy bolter sponsons, and I'm going to be shooting at this little Orc vehicle here, which is called the Boomdacker Snazwagon. The most amazing name I've ever heard. So heavy bolters, we are hitting on 3s because we have moved 2 6s. Those are critical hits, and with sustained hits, that gets me a bonus 2 extra shots. Strength 5, toughness 7, chasing 5s to wound. And that is just 1.
Needing 5s.
They shooting us!
So only 1 wound off the Boomdacker Snazwagon, but the Megatrax Scrapjet, he's got a lot more punch. He's got some missiles and stuff which could threaten my Predator. So I've saved the autocannon turret for him. Now I'm within my rapid fire range. Rapid fire 2 gives me 6 shots now. Let's see if I can blast this guy apart. I need 3s to hit, but this guy is the target of my Oath of Moment for this turn, which means I can re-roll all failed hits. That gives me an extra 2. 3s to wound. Every wound will be 3 damage. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is mega rolling. 5 wounds. Save them all, or that guy is out of there.
We're under attack!
A whopping 16 dice just from 4 little termies. 3s and 5s. Let's see what we can do here. And 5s to wound. 6 saves from the Storm Bolters, but now the Assault Cannon. Hitting on 3s, needing 3s to wound with Strength 6, but every single 6 is a devastating wound, which will be unsavable. Chasing those 6s, and I've got 1 devastating wound and 2 normal wounds. It's saving time, Orc boys.
Cease and repent.
Who's getting shot up? We're under attack!
Die, scum!
The vicious volley of fire unloaded by the Terminators withered the Orc Slugger boys to a measly 2 members.
Let's get out of here!
Those Terminators can shoot, but they can also crunch. It is assault phase. I'm going to make a big charge with my Termies straight over this piece of terrain. It's less than 2 inches, so I can ignore it. A big 10-inch charge. My boys are leaping right over and around. Now these guys, of course, now have the Fight First ability from their charging bonus, so they have got a fierce chance to maul this unit. Up first, I've got the Sergeant with a Power Sword. He's got 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, and he'll be wounding on 4s with his Strength 5. And that is 1 wound through, which is 1 dead Orc straight off the bat. And then the next 4 Terminators have all got Power Fists, which don't have as many attacks, but they hit a lot harder when they land. So we've got 12 attacks all up for the Fists. Ooh, a few misses. Only 7 hits landing, but I only need 2s to wound. Another 4 Orcs. The squad has not been eviscerated, but there's not many of them left.
The Blood Raven double turn, unlocked by the narrative mission bonus from destroying the first Orc Stronghold, has been devastating for Beau's Orc forces on the board, but to be honest, the resistance has been a little less fierce than I'd anticipated. This narrative mission uses a special fog of war system. Beau can marshal his Orc forces and resources in complete secrecy on any part of the board that I haven't been yet. This is all managed with a system of spreadsheets and whiteboards that are hidden behind the studio curtain, and my nagging suspicions of green skin cunning plans turned to genuine anxiety as the next few Orc turns unfolded.
We'll fill them full of holes!
A squad of looters emerged from the fog and unloaded on the Assault Marines, stealing their strategic point, but only managed to kill a single brother.
I dead hard!
On the plateau though, it seemed my attempt at establishing a forward command post would not go unchallenged, as a killer can and a squad of shooter boys ran towards the ramp.
We's gonna blow them up!
Sensing the imminent threat, I kicked off my turn with some more big purchases, rolling a second Predator off the Machine Cult and zooming him full speed to support Alpha and Charlie on the plateau.
Rhino transport is prepared.
Charlie's squad in their Rhino performed an advance move to speed up to respond to the Orc threat, but for a little more immediate support in that critical sector, I called in an even bigger gun.
While the enemies of the Emperor still draw breath, there can be no peace.
Swinging his mighty hammer from side to side, it's the one and only Gabriel Angelos, chapter master of the Blood Ravens. Rallying behind their charismatic leader, Alpha pushed towards the top of the ramp, ready to defend their new chapel barracks. The assault squad finished capturing strategic point 4 for a 100 requisition capture bonus and then leapt up over the looters, dropping deep into the city sector, but soon realized they had made a fatal tactical error, as from within the fog emerged a small Orc outpost clustered around SP5, garrisoned with another killer can, a squad of shooters, and a brutish squad of knobs armed to the teeth for hunting Umis.
Fire all guns!
We're under attack!
We've got Gabe running down to mess up this can, but he needs some fire support, so my all-faithful tactical squad, which is flanked right up this side of the board, mowing down Orcs, is going to keep on firing. We've got 3 heavy bolters, and we're going to try to annihilate these boys at the back so Gabe doesn't get swamped as he solos the whole Orc army. So 4s to hits, because we have moved. 1-6 gets me an extra hit from sustained hits, and we'll be chasing 4s to wound with strength 5. That is 4 big wounds, all at AP -1 for Bo.
Who's getting shot?
Now just the normal bolters, 8 shots hitting on 3s, 7 coming through, and 5s to wound with the lower strength of the bolter. 3 saves for you, Bo. Everyone except the knob has been killed now. Still got my missile launcher, but that has been paired off against the Killer Khan. So that is a 4 to hit. And we've got the hit, and it is now strength 9, so that is 3s to wound. And if I can get a cheeky wound, I do amongst the squad, a big 6. It is now D6 damage. Now the Khan has got 5 wounds. So if I get a high roll on the D6 here, this is some pretty big wounds coming through.
I gotcha!
Just 1 wound left on the Killer Khan, so Gabe is going in for the charge. This Khan is dead. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s. I have hit with 3 of them, and now I am wounding on 3s, and every single wound becomes 3 extra wounds. They're all unsavable, and any 6s are bonus wounds as well. Chasing pretty much a single 3 here. We have done 3, 6, 9 wounds. The Khan has 1 left. He is pulverized by the God Splitter.
For terror!
With no other option but to go down swinging, the Assault Marines charged into the looters, killing 3 of the well-armed Orc brutes, but the Orc knob leading the squad hacked apart a brother Marine in response.
Die, scum!
The Terminators finally dealt with those silly Orc boys
We shall prevail.
and consolidated towards strategic point 4. But as the Orc turn began, the sole surviving squad of Orcs from the first Orc Stronghold launched forwards towards the Termies to keep holding them back. When they charged later in the turn, they actually managed to drag down one of the First Company veterans to the dusty plains of Tartarus before the Terminators wiped the entire unit in a vicious retaliation.
Time to stomp and kill!
Up in the city sector, things went from bad to worse for the Assault Marines, as the Can and the Knobs surged forwards from the outpost under covering fire from the Shooter Squad. The Can thundered into combat, but luckily for the Marines, the Knobs failed their charge. Fighting first, the Can wiped away 2 Assault Marines, which allowed the Sergeant to land 1 final blow, killing a looter before he was beheaded by the Looter Knob's Power Claw. My first attempt at breaching the city sector has failed dismally. I'm going to need a lot more to punch through than just 1 measly squad of Marines. And who knows what other hidden dangers lie in that last patch of fog. Those ruined buildings might look relatively innocent now, but I'm almost scared to find out what truly lies within. As we entered my 14th turn, yes, you heard me right, we are 14 turns and 2 days of gameplay deep into this battle report, I took full advantage of the new chapel barracks and deployed another Marine squad, Delta, who eagerly charged forwards past Gabriel to show their mettle before the eyes of their esteemed leader, but immediately came under fire. Anytime one of my units comes within 12 inches of Bo's units that are hidden within the fog of war, that unit is automatically revealed and may may make an immediate Overwatch attack. So I decided more Marines were in order and brought yet another assault squad, this time all the way back at the home base Chapel Barracks. They can't use their super jump on the turn they arrived, so they set off with an advancing move, zooming over the new Predator, who gave them a nice little toot-toot with the horn, and then trundled off up the ramp to strategic point 3.
Moving out.
Up on the plateau, Alpha Squad continued their slow march, forming a ceramite wall between any further enemy attacks and their precious new Chapel Barracks, and then unloaded their bolters, 3 heavy bolters and 1 frag missile to decimate the new shooter boys nestled in cover across the gully.
Rhino transport is prepared.
Inside the Rhino, Charlie reinforced a new squad member and added a missile launcher as their transport sped across the plateau.
Objective logged.
And down on the plains, Gabriel surged forward, seemingly unsupported, but with the Orc threat finally eliminated in the center, the Terminators reinforced and marched towards their chapter master, spitting death from their storm bolters into the Orc boys before them, and splitting off the assault cannon up into the looter knob to finally stop those 2 squads from regrouping.
Predator deployed. There will be nothing left to bury.
With the destruction of that Orc barracks, I'm feeling pretty good. I should have complete control of 2 full thirds of the board, with the Orc forces on the plains fully neutralized and some of the Orc-infested city sector revealed. Our 2 parts of unexplored map are the northwest corner above the Blood Raven's base, where there are no buildable zones anyway, and then of course the location of the second Orc infestation in the southeast corner. And my goodness, who knows what could be over there.
Now, YouTube is a pretty harsh master, especially on brand new channels, and in your first kind of couple of months and your first couple of videos, everything is so important. If you're enjoying Dawn of War Warhammer and you'd like to see more of it, click that little subscribe button, and a like as well would be great. So helpful for a channel that's just this small. We've got like less than 10K at the moment. We need to pump those rookie numbers up.
As my assault on this final bastion of greenskin menace shapes up, I've got 2 major spearheads forming for my force. Gabriel and the Terminators supported by 1 Predator down on the plains, and then the 2 tactical squads supported by a second Predator. I can only hope it's going to be enough.
Smash 'em!
Bo's 14th Orc turn kicks off fairly predictably. The Orc knobs reinforced and redeployed under covering fire from the Orc shooters to try and intercept the attack vector of the Terminators, although they probably would have called it running to stomp the closest oomies. Their killer can, however, ran down towards the plains and landed a cheeky rocket blast on my Predator, chipping off 3 damn wounds. Stupid grots. That worked pretty well, so the knobs gave a big holler and called forward 2 more of their cheeky cans, who took some pot shots at the Terminators, and their weird Grot Walker weaponry managed to fell one of my mighty warriors. Then a vicious war cry burst forth from the fog.
War's right, ready for shooting. War dice is as shooty as there is.
We've got our Orc war bikers moving in now. We're going to hopefully wipe this squad of Marines here, needing 5s to hit. 1 hit.
Whoa!
1 hit. All right, come on, we're going for the wound. 3+. Got 1.
Because of drive-by Dakar, when the bikers are within 9 inches, my armor save is at -1. So a 4+, and I might take a wound here for my Marine. And I've got a 2, so that's 1 Marine down.
All right, not ideal. We're really hoping to wipe that squad with that first round of bikers. Let's see if the second one can do a little better. A few more hits. 1, 2. All right. It's 2 hits, better than 1. Let's see if we can get the wound. Nothing. Nothing again. It's not great. It's not great today for the Orcs. Orc shooting, atrocious. We're going to try and charge in with this front unit first. Yep, got that.
Yeah, just. They love it.
Second squad, we're going to be a little greedy here. We're hoping this squad can wipe this one. Second squad's actually going to come up and try and boost some damage on this reinforcements here.
Oh, 8 inches, they're just short. Okay, so they're not moving this turn. It's all about these guys.
All right, we've got 9 attacks going in here. Hopefully it's enough to do the job.
Crucially, you have got 2 hits landing from the big chopper.
4s on the green dice, 3s on the black dice. Let's see if we can get those pesky wounds.
Oh,
useless again.
That's trash. Only 2 saves, but the order of them does matter. So this is just the normal chopper. I'm down to 4+ save. This will be a single wound if I fail. And I do, so that is my first Space Marine down. And then the knob's Power Claw is damaged too. So if I fail this, I don't just take a wound, I lose an entire 2 wound Marine. And another Marine goes down, so they got rid of a couple, but one brave Blood Raven is holding back all the Orc bikers.
I need power, so I researched the power grid at one of my generators, which doubles the output of all power generators from 50 to 100 power, a huge bonus, but it won't come into effect until next turn, so for now, my spend has to be pretty limited. Next is more research, this time at the mech center. This is the Dreadnought Orbital Link, which will allow me to deep strike my slow walking dreadnoughts right into the heart of battle. Next, it's time to fortify our forward operating base with our first heavy bolter turret.
We seek the enemy.
I reinforce the Termies and then march them up the center ramp before the chapter master himself joined their squad to lead his finest soldiers.
Follow my lead.
Alpha Squad had to forego their stationary shooting bonus to get out of the way of Charlie's Rhino, who reinforced with another Marine and missile launcher as they zoomed past their brothers and formed up next to Delta and the Warbikers.
Take refuge within our armor.
The Predator down on the plains kept moving forwards to support from afar and hold down that flank and opened up on the Killer Can, reducing it to molten slag. The second Predator finally crested the plateau, eager to bring his long-range weapons to bear from his elevated position, and the Assault Marines advanced to join the rest of their brothers closer to the action.
Engaging the enemy. We will crush the enemies of the Imperium.
Now, our Dawn of War rules require a lot of units to be able to change their loadouts during the course of the game. Sergeants can upgrade their chainswords to power swords and even power fists, their bolt pistols to plasma, Marines get new heavy and special weapons,
Light of the Emperor!
and even vehicles have complex loadout options like the Space Marine Predator, which can swap out its autocannon and heavy bolters for mighty las cannons.
Now, I didn't want to have to buy triples of everything to do all of those loadouts, so we got some help from today's sponsor, the almighty Magnet Baron, the official sponsor of the Dawn of War Warhammer campaign, because magnets, they just solve everything.
If you need magnets for your wargaming, then look no further than the magnetbaron.com, your DIY super magnet home. Magnetbaron.com have a huge range of wargaming magnets which are super powerful and even have specific kits for notoriously difficult to magnetize models, magnetized movement trays, and magnetized collapsible flight stands for the epic travel wargaming experience.
I challenge you to find a better feeling in all of wargaming than the pure bliss of this moment. Magnetic perfection.
So to score some boss wargaming magnets for all your army needs, hit up the magnetbaron.com, link down in the description, and a big shout out to Constantine who runs the Magnet Baron. He's an absolute legend. It's not often you'll find a sponsor willing to support content on a brand new channel, so go and show him some love.
So it is time for the Terminators to unleash hell. This squad of knobs over here is just going to be such a problem in the next turn. I've got to get up there, I've got to mince them, but first we're going to absolutely unload. So I now have 5 Stormbolters because Gabe has joined their squad. So we're going to start with those. We are looking for 3s to hit. Gabriel hits on 2, so he's hit with everything, and the Orc unit is my Oath of Moment target for the turn, so I can re-roll everybody else's misses. I need 5s to wound now. Yeah, that's not bad. We'll take that. Look at these 6s. So 6 saves already for the Orcs. We'll do the Assault Cannon now as well. 3s to hit. Hitting with everything. Come on, 6s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 normal wounds and 1 devastating wound. That is 12 wounds for the knobs to deal with.
We're losing.
Light of the Emperor! Commencing attack.
They shooting us.
For the glory of the Imperium.
That shooting was pretty devastating, but we need to do more in combat. But we need an 11-inch charge. Let's see how we go. Come on, Terminators. Oh, we got it! It's 11! The boys are going in. We have our charging bonus, so we will be fighting first. And with the pile-in, even Gabe is going to manage to wrap around and get in combat. Let's crush some Orc.
Follow me into battle.
Gabe is the key. He's going to go first with his God Splitter. He needs 3s to hit. Now, I have got this unit still targeted as my Oath of Moment, so I'm re-rolling all hits here, which is going to get him all of his attacks. And every single wound is unsavable by the knobs and deals 3 damage. So every 3 here is a dead Orc. Let's see what we can do. Come on. Oh, no, that looks bad. Gabe has choked. That is one, just one dead knob. Let's see if the Terminators can pick up the slack. Come on, Chapter Master, what are you doing? Okay, 5 Termies. We're gonna start with the Power Sword. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s. Force to wound with the Power Sword. We've got 1, 2 wounds. 12 Power Fist hits coming in on the Orcs. We need 3s to hit. Again, re-rolling our misses. 3s to wound, and these are damage 2. More dead knobs coming up. There's so many 1s. Okay, you've got some saves to make, Bo.
All right, it's not looking good. Chasing 6s. Let's see what we can do.
They are pulverized with the damage 2 from the Power Fists.
Right now, I'm feeling pretty damn good. Sure, these bikers are annoying, but my predators are there, and I've got such good board control and a real stranglehold on the orc economy. I should be able to just grind Bo down, right? Or have I missed something? This is almost seeming a bit too easy. Then the pieces started falling right into place. It began with a savage shape rolling forth from the fog, a mighty battle wagon, who dropped off a squad of looters who just unloaded right into Gabriel's Terminators, killing 2 of them in one vicious salvo. The massive kill cannon from the battle wagon fired down at the Predator, but missed as the boys inside wildly fumbled in excitement with the controls. The bikes on the plane strangely ignored my Rhino and surged right up into Alpha Squad, unloading again with their awful shooting and predictably killing nothing, but then charged into combat. Bo clearly wants my heavy weapons tied up for a turn or 2. Hopefully my tactical squad can take them, but now I'm just a bit more worried about what Bo's trying to protect.
Taking damage.
The killer cans charged in, and this time the Termies don't have the fight first bonus. But the cans didn't roll that well, scoring 4 hits, 2 wounds, and with only 1 failed save, but it was damage 3, it was just enough to kill 1 poor Terminator. Gabriel's honor guard has been savaged in just 1 turn. Stunned by the assault, the Raven Elite choked and didn't manage to destroy even 1 of the killer cans. But I've saved Bo's greatest ploy from this turn until last, because it was at this moment that Bo grabbed the camera, scrubbed through the clips, and showed me a shot that he had got my wife to help him film the day before while I was in the bathroom.
So Lockie's launched what looks like a pretty strong assault on my first fortress. So what I'm gonna do is send this little truck full of boys around the back using the fog of war. Hopefully they won't get discovered and we'll be able to launch a surprise attack late game. Here goes the boys, sneaking through the fog.
Yes, that's right, the little pocket of fog of war that I never explored in the early part of the game has come back to bite me, as a squad of boys who have been slowly upgrading in secrecy have burst forth to launch the ultimate surprise attack.
Alright, so my main force is tied down up that end. I knew that would happen. What I was banking on was that I could get this sneaky force in to try and take out some of Lockie's buildings before he's able to destroy my HQ.
With Bo having timed his ambush perfectly, all of my current units are kind of too committed to the main battle to sort of double back, so I had to kind of make a new Marine squad at home to try and hold these Orcs at bay, who launched forwards and unloaded a hail of bolts into the Orcs, but had little effect against their growing horde, only managing to kill 2. I then upgraded the sponsons and turrets of my 2 Predators to las cannons. The autocannons and heavy bolters have served me well, but to scorch the Orc infestation to ash, a little more firepower won't go astray. I then decided to fully commit to blowing up his base before he could blow up mine.
Activating jump pack.
But as it turns out, the Orcs attacking my home base wouldn't be the only fresh greenskins we'd be meeting this turn.
Alright, Lockie's jump troopers have jumped in behind my tank and that's revealed the rest of my fortress here. Little did he know that we have an extra barracks here, another one up the back, filled with Orcs. We've got vehicles ready to roll in. It's game on.
Well, now it all makes sense. 4 squads of boys, 3 big beefy Orc buggies, another squad of bikes, and the big mech himself with a cohort of knobs, defending an Orc base comprising of 2 Orc barracks and a massive Orc stronghold with 3 separate build stat lines that I all have to destroy. There was only one thing to do, and get stuck in, but boy am I going to need some more armor.
I have awoken.
I grabbed my dreadnought and deep struck him right into the now revealed enemy territory.
It is better to die for the Emperor than live for yourself.
The Rhino launched forwards and pulled a sick 180 handbrakey and deployed Charlie Squad, ready to face probably their imminent death, but hoping to seize their chance to help land the killing blow before they're overwhelmed.
Let me at 'em!
Their missile launchers fired at the barracks before them, wounding with both crack missiles and managing to score just enough damage across the D6 damage missiles to destroy the first Orc structure. The resulting explosion dealt 6 mortal wounds to all units within 6 inches and sending smoke and flaming debris high into the air.
If you're enjoying the Dawn of War inspired landscapes and armies, make sure you check out the hobby side of this campaign over on ZorpHammer, linked down in the description. Or if you want to play some Dawn of War Warhammer at home, we've got the experimental rules available for download on my Patreon. I am hoping that if this campaign is successful and I can keep making videos for it, to do a how to play guide and sort of go through all the rules right here on the channel. But if you want the rules right now, Patreon is the place to get them, and it's an amazing way to support Dawn of War Warhammer so you can get even more of it. The missile launchers sure did their job. Now it's time for this mega round of shooting to continue with our Dreadnought. He's deep struck in, and he is ready to pivot and blast with his multi-melter straight into this first component of the Orc Stronghold. This mega compound of bows has a lot of parts to it with different hit lines, but we are gonna blast this one first. We've got 2 dice, we need 3s. We've got 2 big 5s and then 3s to wound. And that is, oh, we've missed with 1, but we have got 1 successful wound. Now this damage of the multi-melter is D6 plus 2 because of the melter special rule, melter 2. So if we can get a big enough D6 here, we need to score 5 wounds for damage. We have got a 3 plus 2, 5 exactly. This guy is blown up out of here.
Your end is at hand.
We are dishing so much pain on these Orc buildings, and now it continues with my Predator fully spec'd up with las cannon sponsons and las cannons in the top. And this time we are firing at the main target, the big part of the compound. And this is the target of my Oath of Moment this turn. So 3s re-rolling all hits. We've got 1 miss, but the Oath of Moment gets it to us, and we need a simple 3s to wound with this massive strength of 12 and 14 across the turret and the sponsons. Oh my lord! 1s and 2s. My first Predator is just completely choked. You know what? It's fine. I've got 1 more. Yeah, look, not ideal, but I do have this second Predator. Now I'm just in range to hit the back compound with this guy as well, but obviously there's a really tempting target with that battle wagon who could hit next turn and seriously maim one of my tanks, but I think we just got to keep playing the objective. So we're going our 3 las cannons. We get those re-rolls, of course, which we need 1 of them. Oh, it's not enough. We've already dropped 1. 3s to wound, and this is where we choked. No! There's something lucky about this Big Mech's compound, I think.
I don't know if Big Mech Cogfist Steel Snapper prayed to Gork or Mork, but whatever he's doing is working, as my las cannons are just zapping anywhere but his beloved Big Mech workshop.
Charge!
As Lasfire blasted the buildings all around the city sector, the Assault Marines launched into combat, swiftly followed by the Dreadnought, who absolutely annihilated the last biker with his massive close combat weapons.
Die! Die!
After the charge bonuses, the Orcs got to strike back first, and Bo chose his killer cans, who smushed another Terminator into the dust, but Gabriel finally remembered how to swing his hammer and crushed both of the cans with a devastating blow.
Today the enemy shall know fear.
Unbelievably though, some poor Orc rolling and pretty mega saving throws, if I do say so myself, the Orc Warbikers only scored a single wound on Marine Squad Alpha, who then hacked back and killed 2 of the massive greenskins and wounded the 3rd.
We will crush the enemies of the Imperium. They's too strong!
A big swing back to the Blood Ravens this turn, but Bo not only has some of his biggest units still on the field, he's also bearing right down on my Stronghold. If I don't stem the green tide of Orcs, they're gonna snatch victory from the teethy jaws of defeat. First up for the Orcs' turn was to reinforce the boys sneaking up on the Umi base with a burner boy, and then they pushed up through the forest. Bo chose not to advance though, to give him a chance at nailing a pretty reasonable charge roll. And then to add insult to injury, the Orcs' sneakiness was just not over, as a squad of commandos just appeared out of the fog and opened up on poor Echo Squad with their rapid-firing special commando shooters. But my ceramite plating held strong, and so instead the commandos set loose their little bomb squig, who dutifully sprinted past the distracted Marines and detonated next to the Stronghold for D3 wounds, chipping 2 wounds off my mighty HQ building. Wiping burning squig flesh from their visors, Echo Squad looked up to see the commandos leaping on top of them with a vicious charge. The Marines raced forward to meet them, but with the charge bonus, the commandos struck first, one Marine falling to the Nob's power claw and another battle brother wounded by the rest of the commandos. The Marines struck back, killing a single commando, but the damage was done as the huge Orc slugger boys issued a mighty wah. Bo nailed the charge comfortably, rolling a massive 10 inches, and swarmed through the forest to reach the Stronghold and hacked at the building. But the Orc boys, with their 30 attacks, only managed 2 6s on the wounding roll. Disgusted with his lad's pathetic attempt, the Orc Nob swung his power claw to show the boys how it's done, wounding with all 3 strikes, and at damage 2, that is a total of 8 wounds from the combat. And after the exploding squig earlier in the turn, that leaves just 6 wounds on the Space Marine Stronghold. Scary times for the Blood Ravens. Meanwhile, on the west side of the board, the bikers reinforced, and Cogfist Steel Snapper donned his Mega Knob armor, mostly because I never got round to making the big mech model, and then charged down the side of his beloved Orc Mech Workshop skyscraper and hollered down to the big Umi tin can below. Then in some Mad Max style action, the 3 Orc buggies just smashed through the ruins and ignored the Dreadnought completely, opting instead to try and threaten Charlie's squad and the 2nd Predator with their heavy weapons. They poured Daka into Charlie, just annihilating the squad and even popping their Rhino for good measure, but the rockets fired off at the Predator missed wildly across the battlefield. The battle wagon chose not to ram the Terminators so that he wouldn't get a shooting debuff from being in engagement range, and unloaded with his kill cannon, landing D6 plus 3 shots to rack up 7 dice with 4 big 5s and then 3 wounds at damage 2 on the Predator, which takes the Predator to just 2 wounds remaining, meaning he is now classed as damaged and will have a much harder time landing his shooting attacks. Then in the combat phase, the last squad of Slugger Boys in the Orc base charged the Assault Marines and wiped them off the board in a vicious onslaught, saving the looters from their imminent death. But at the forward command post, both bikers finally fell, with the Marines fighting first this turn, who consolidated into a strong firing position to hit either the attacking buggies or maybe the objective itself.
Consolidating position on the objective.
Double 6s.
But the biggest moment of the combat phase would be the mighty Cogfist Steel Snapper leading the charge with a mental double 6 roll to get enough distance to launch down the skyscraper into the Space Marine Dreadnought.
Identifying targets.
The Nobs managed 4 hits and 2 wounds, but with the Dreadnought's thick armor blocking 1, only a single damage 2 blow was landed. Cogfist then powered up his kill saw, landing 3 attacks, hitting with 2 and wounding again with both strikes, and with the Dread save reduced to 5 from the high AP, I could only pass 1, which meant another 2 wounds scored and just 4 wounds left on my beloved Ancient Warrior. But boy did my veteran get angry, as he hit back with 4 attacks, wounded with all 4, and then with the Orcs failing all 4 saves and the damage 3 of the mighty Dreadnought swing, all 3 Nobs were pulverized and Cogfist staggered back, taking 3 wounds as well. We are now 16 turns deep into the very first battle of Dawn of War Warhammer, and we have seen some absolute carnage across the battlefield in this pretty insane narrative scenario. And as we go into what will probably be our final turn, the battle could really slide either way. The orcs have just enough left on the board to mess up probably my attacking force and the very base of the Blood Ravens, but I've got one last turn to try and tip the scales in the favor of the Imperium.
Marine squad deployed.
I began the turn just burning resources at my home base. If my attack fails this turn, I have to buy enough time to make another pass. A new Marine squad Foxtrot joins the fray and sprints towards the orcs ready to sell their lives to save their headquarters.
Weapons at ready. It is time. Greenskins!
Then it's time for some upgraded defenses, with a heavy bolter getting built in the HQ build zone, and a second turret in the build zone of Strategic Point 2, conveniently in range of the orcs. On the attack, Gabriel and his last Terminator ran around the battle wagon, avoiding the looters and slugger boys on Strategic Point 6 to threaten the orc barracks at the rear of the base. A new HQ unit joined the battle.
I stand ready.
No Blood Raven force would be complete without a librarian, and who knows what secret relics we might discover on Tartarus. The librarian launched forwards and unloaded a hail of witchfire, busting out the Gandalf dice that my longtime viewers will know and rightly fear, and in true wizard style, he popped a big Gandalf 6 for the witchfire's D6 psychic attacks, and then hit with 3 and wounded with 2. And even when the Boomdacker Snazwagon saved a single strike, the librarian zapped away his remaining 3 wounds to reduce the orc buggy to ash and smoke.
Venerate the immortal emperor.
So I'm taking a bit of a gamble here, and I'm firing on the orc stronghold with my beautiful predator that is very damaged. The orc battle wagon is going to finish it off next turn. But let's just try and get one last double blast on the stronghold. I am shooting a -1 because I'm down to 2 wounds. This guy's in a bad way, so 4s to hit. Oh, that's not good, but luckily I am re-rolling because of my Oath of Moment. We need 6 wounds to blast off the top section, D6 plus 1 damage for each of those wounds. That is 8, 10, blasted off the top of the stronghold.
Hammer them till they fall!
Its top may be blown off, but the main section of the center stronghold is just fierce. So we got to soften it up with my tactical squad here. Now the only things in range are my heavy weapons, so 3 heavy bolters and 1 missile launcher. 3s to hit. Re-rolling, of course, with the Oath of Moment, and because these weapons are heavy, I haven't moved, so +1 as well. That is a lot of hits, and critically, the missile launcher. 5s to wound on the normals, and this big, beautiful orange is chasing 3s to wound with that high-strength crack missile. Oh, the crack missile has missed, but we have loaded up on wounds with the heavy bolters. 5 wounds from the heavies, no missile, unfortunately. Let's see if the Predator can finish it off. So 2 successful wounds, D6 plus 1 damage. I just did 5, this guy's got 12. I need 7 across these 2 dice. Come on, Predator. 5, 4, 9, 11 wounds. The top section is blown off, 1 building to go, and we have wiped this infestation.
Hammer them till they fall!
Space Marines attack! Charge!
No prisoners! Light of the Emperor!
I fear no evil, for I am fear incarnate.
What better way to finish the Dawn of War than with a massive charge by the Blood Ravens Chapter Master. God Splitter, my massive hammer, swinging in. I'm hitting on 3s. I've got 3 hits. Wounding on 3s with 3 damage each. That is 6 wounds. That's just enough to smash this last orc infestation.
For the glory of the Imperium!
With a deafening explosion, the last structure of the final stronghold was engulfed in flames, and the orc presence here in the Tartarus Manufactorum is exterminated. But as every soldier in the Imperium knows, the greenskins never seem to stay eradicated. The orc menace will return, and as we look beyond to the next phase of Dawn of War Warhammer, a great many more evils may just threaten the Imperium.
Thank you so much for watching the second episode of Dawn of War Warhammer. It genuinely means so much. And the last time I filmed this little outro, we were shooting in the dark. I had no idea what this was going to do, and kind of like my wildest dreams were realized, really. 100,000 views or 130 on the first episode. So exciting. And this massive kind of big two-part video was a bit of a wild narrative scenario just to show you guys what's possible with this system. But video 3 that I'm about to start working on is heading in the direction of something more playable for you guys at home, because I was shocked. I had so many people kind of come on board the project. Heaps of Patreons joined us, which was just so humbling because people want to do this. I'm not the only crazy person. These guys, folks really want to get on board and play some Dawn of War Warhammer at home. So Battle Report 3 is going to be targeted much more towards that. But then beyond, there is so much more scope that we could do, adding factions, adding units, different ways to play. If there's a particular faction you'd like to see first, throw it down in the comments. Maybe a favorite unit added to one of your factions. Let me know down below. I am reading all of these. And just a huge thank you to all of our new Patreons who have joined us. You guys are phenomenal. And if you want to play Dawn of War Warhammer yourself, the only way to get the rules at the moment are on my Patreon. They're very experimental, very in development. We've just added the Orcs as the second full faction rules. The Space Marines obviously went up with our last video as well. Eventually, if this sort of series is successful, I want to do like a how to play video just here on the channel for everyone. But that's still many months away. We gotta see this series kicking on first. So thank you so much to everyone who supported us. Share the videos with your 40k mates if you can. It really does help. And thank you to everyone, our Patreons, our viewers. If you've liked and subscribed, it's been a big trip so far, and I cannot wait to keep making more Dawn of War Warhammer.
One last final thank you to a couple of special folks who made this first part of the campaign all possible. Firstly, big shout out to Bo for being so smashing on camera, to Adam from 3D Games Wargaming and Terrain who sent me this whole orc army to just borrow for filming. Thanks, Adam. Make sure you check out his channel, link down below. To probably my oldest subscriber ever, Mr. Andy Tucker, who just lent me so much terrain because all of my normal 40k stuff is still back in Australia. And to Sam and Jimmy, who printed just a bucket load of goodies to help me get this all done in time. You guys are all legends. A big thank you.